Big win for Manly there at Four Pines Park, 34-6 over the Broncos, and they had to do it without some of their key personnel. No Jake Trbojevic, no Tom Trbojevic, but Billy, you must have loved watching a young fullback, Lehigh Hopewadi. He was incredible, a couple of try assists, he was pretty much in everything.
I think I said a couple of months ago in a call that he could possibly be the best of the Hopewadis. Joey said careful.
John's watching.
John's watching. But I think he could be. He literally could be. He's still only lean. He's still got a lot of physical development, but he's just a wonderful player. He's got great skill, anticipation. I love watching him play, and it doesn't matter whether he's on the wing or at fullback. He's always in the game. Look at that. Strong.
Well, he made that surge. That was the first set of 6. I thought they're in trouble here, the Broncos. You talk about him being lean, he went straight through.
Yeah.
It's like...
He doesn't get pushed back.
That was the middle of them. That was their forwards. Although that was, it's not a good sign for the Broncos.
They just attacked the game, didn't they? They looked really confident, opposite to their opposition, but they just really attacked the game. And, Daly was heavily involved with his boot. And, they were running downhill.
58% of possession, and they completed at 88%. It's hard to beat a team when they're playing like this. And this was the Broncos' only try. Bit of ad-lib footy and then a kick to Ezra. But they were never in the game. Manly, they played up-tempo. They beat the Broncos at every facet of the game.
Jazz Tavunga's been a great pickup for them. Just a real hard-working guy in the middle. He's got a bit of ball playing and just competes on everything. As to this guy, Brown.
Back fence Brown.
Every time there was a 50-50 ball, Manly came up with it. Any 50-50 challenge, they got it. The speed of their defensive line was far greater. Everything they kick-chased harder, they scrapped harder.
Look at this.
Brisbane's in all sorts, an absolute all sorts.
It's one of the first dominant performances from Manly that I've seen without Tom Trbojevic. They've been heavily reliant on their star fullback, but that's something that they can springboard off because very rarely do they play like that without Tom in the team.
When you say Brisbane are gone, you're saying they're not making the 8?
I said all sorts, he said.
Oh, who said gone? Okay. Yeah, are they making the 8? They've lost 6 of their last 7 now. We started the year saying, they're premiership heavyweights. But
I think maybe when Reece Walsh and Ben Hunt get back, it could be different. But at the moment, they want to trick shot their way to victory. They don't want to do it with hard work. They just want to get their set plays on. I feel sorry for Payne, Haas and Carrigan. They get the ball and it's like, here, run here, get me a quick play of the ball. The halves and the fullback are back here standing waiting on the big plays. It's up to your halves and your fullback to support your big man, to get forward, to get one-on-one tackles and to get an offload. At the moment, they just don't want to get down and dirty.
They don't work hard for each other at all. At all. They look so isolated. Everyone hitting the ball up there on their own. Anytime there's any sort of luck, like you said, a ball goes through or if someone makes a line break, there's no one there.
No one there.
Yeah.
So they're on their own out there.
They look flat and uninterested at times.
Well, that's the...
Which is...
You hear the stories coming out is that Madge is throwing them too hard, but then the knock on Kevy was he was too easy on him. And now,
that's right.
Coach?
Players got to take account.
Players.
Yeah.
Get it done.
And you can't... And
you blokes play. You were getting flogged.
Well, this is the thing, Joey. I hate bringing this type of stuff up and say, "Oh, look at us," but we train hard every single day with Craig Bellamy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And you didn't. Very rarely did we go out there and put in a flat performance. If we did, it was a one-off, and then we'd be back.
Well, do you think the difference is you had senior players cracking the whip?
Well, possibly.
Because it's got to come from the senior players.
Possibly.
It can't come from the coach all the time.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what's going on at training with the Broncos or within their club and how it all works with the setup with their senior player group or whatnot, but that has to work that way at every single club, doesn't it? The senior players have to lead the way.
Have to.
Well, they're the biggest club in the comp, so they're not normally they've got the biggest nursery as well. I know Adam Reynolds, I watched that last try and that wasn't a good sign. It just looked like a bloke who's injured and uninterested. And I'm not sure where he is at the moment with re-signing.
The suggestions they will re-sign him.
But surely they've got some halfbacks coming through that are putting pressure. That's the decision Broncos have got to make. Surely there's a system underneath there with players ready to go. You can't have the biggest club in our game in this sort of position where there's not a sort of, a pathway of people coming through. Like, if you're the biggest and the best, you need to act like that.
Well, the early game, it wasn't an amazing performance from the Melbourne Storm because Craig Bellamy, they kept cutting to him in the box, and Munster actually made a joke about it and said, he's never happy, or sorry, bellyache, you're always perfect and we're not. But what do you think he would have thought of this one?
Go Billy.
You were there, Cams. This is like torrential conditions, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty ordinary conditions. It started raining quite heavily before the match, and there was some downpours throughout the game as well. It got a bit sloppy, and it really did. And there were some unforced errors there by the Melbourne team that I think Craig was pretty unhappy with. And not so much this game as an isolation. I think it's starting to creep into their game over the past 6 weeks, which is what has made him a little bit concerned about their consistency with their performances. I thought Cam Munster stood up, backing up from State of Origin after a tough loss. I thought he was heavily involved.
He's a good player.
Yeah.
They scored 2 tries with their defence. Is that Anderson?
Yeah, Grant Anderson.
Young Fa'alongo scored a try with their defence as well.
Yeah.
Well, that's one thing that they're doing now. They're getting some reps into these development players like the Grant Andersons, Sil Fa'alongo, with Will Warbrick. Jack Howarth came back. That was his first game for about a month. So they're starting to get some reps into some players that will be filling in with injuries leading into the finals. But you're right, they're not playing probably the DNA standard of Melbourne, but they've got so much brilliance in their footy team that they're going to get away with wins here and there. I think that's what Craig Bellamy's more disappointed about, is he wants to establish that mentally tough, physically tough football team. So that's what he'll go after over the next couple of months. It just so happened that the Titans just made more errors. I think they made 15 errors in the whole game, so pretty hard to win a game when you're doing that.
The stats looked all right. I was reading the stats, he completed about 85%. Melbourne.
Yeah.
So, I know they're making errors and they might have been fundamental, but in those conditions, you've got to walk away pretty happy. And I suppose it showed, because Tigers were well and truly in the game.
Yeah.
They had a pretty dodgy call against them, I thought, where the hooker went over Verrills.
Yeah. Desi was fuming in the post-match press
I thought,
Yeah.
mate, Leaf, you can't give this a try.
I think that's a try.
Yeah,
I was sitting there live.
I agree.
I was down the other end of the field, so I had a fair view of what went on. And when they went to the bunker and it was getting held up, I'm thinking, what are we looking at here? What's actually gone wrong?
Now, if it's not a try,
Tino
it's a sin bin for blokes lying in there and just destroying any sort of momentum. And then that happened the play after, or 2 plays after. Wow.
It'd be, how frustrating would it be being Desi? Coaching that.
You have teams.
They're pretty good footy.
You have teams that play well one week and awful the next. The Titans can go one set at 6 and they look like world beaters, and then the next one they look like pub team who was drunk.
Yeah.
That's a first, a pub team drunk.
Yeah. Well, they're a pub team.
I've seen a few of them go.
There was someone like Tino, though. It's not just Desi frustrating, but Tino'd be frustrated.
Some of the defence, it's just...
I used to watch a competition. It used to be a competition when I was a young bloke, a pub competition. And Liverpool Railway would play Chester Hill, mate. How violent do you reckon it was? It was just a brawl. I used to go down to Ashcroft. They just bash each other.
Yeah, so that's the Gold Coast.
That's the Gold Coast. Chester Hill and Liverpool Railway. They used to...
Liverpool Railway playing at the Seabus Stadium next week. Just on the long necks before they do it responsibly.
Poor Desi.
Yeah.
He'd be pulling his hair out.
Pull there. Well, he's got plenty of hair to pull out.
Yes, those long, luscious locks.
Got the best hair.
Great game from Tommy Dearden and Jackson Purdue, combining really well. I know, Joey, a couple of weeks ago we said, did Jake Clifford really deserve to be dropped? But in their second match together, showing really positive signs up there.
Put them there and leave them there. They'll eventually get better and better and better. I love this game. Jeez, it was a good game. This young bloke just competes. He's so tough. There's a real good team building at the Cowboys with some of these young blokes. Labert, Tommy Dearden, this bloke here, he's Purdue. How do you pronounce it? Pronounces it all different.
Jackson. They're taking the pressure off him as well. I thought Dearden and Drinkwater really stood up with their attack. Everyone did their job, but they took the pressure off Purdue by controlling the attack and went after that part of the game. That's what put the points on the board early. I know it was a bit of a late flurry by the Tigers, but I was pretty impressed with the Cowboys early.
What do you think, Todd Payton? I mean, you're always happy with a victory, Freddie, but he would have just been spewing with that defence in the second half.
But you know what? The Tigers are one of those teams, sometimes you can't help it.
Yeah.
They've got that many players. All I was thinking about towards the back end of the game is, I hope Newcastle are watching this. Like, just the way they attack, they all just flood the ball. Anyone who makes a break, look at them all just stand behind and react. Look at everyone just reacting, get them behind the ball, get them behind the ball. You know, if you're a Brisbane or a Newcastle and you're trying to find cohesion, just look at the effort to be involved here by every one of those players. Just getting on side, getting behind the ball, bang, off the right, left foot, start for toe. He was outstanding.
Isn't he powerful?
Great balance, come up with a couple of great tries. But no, it was a brilliant game to watch.
Heath Mason, Billy, played a lot of fullback, but played 5'8". What do you think of Heath Mason?
Well, it was the first time I've seen him play 5'8". I've only seen him play fullback. He looks like he's, got a bit of game. I think he was good. They had their opportunities, the Tigers, especially late.
Well, that last
Really
bit of
close
play, Heath Mason goes through and flicks the ball to Appy Coruscant. And it was a pretty tough one, but you'd think Appy would take it. I loved it. I love this game.
It's very West Tigers, isn't it? Because we've always known that they can score points, and Benji, that's how he played, and that's one thing he's always on about, is he gives them the licence to be able to back themselves and, make that flick pass or do something and have a bit of a attacking flair, Cam, I guess you could say.
Yeah, absolutely. This is, it's classic West Tigers, isn't it? Look at this, like ball on the ground. They clean up some scraps and then they find 4 points out of it. It's just incredible. Adam Dewey had a chance to kick that goal on the sideline. He unfortunately hooked it, left them 4 points down. I thought for sure the Tigers were going to score here and send it to golden point or possibly win, but they fell just that little bit short.
Right foot.
And
He's a fair young
you'd
player.
imagine then Latu Fainu, once he comes back in, he'd be partnering Jerome Luai, obviously with Lockie Galvin officially gone.
Once again, find out who your best spine is and just leave them there at training and get their reps up. Just got to play together, time on the paddock, training paddock, and time on the field. Just leave them there.
It'd be a bittersweet feeling as coach for Benji, I reckon. Like when you look at their last, it was only 20 minutes, so they were down 32-6 at the 60-minute mark, and they go on and
had two players binned as well.
score that flurry of points, and you sort of sit there and think, well, if we can produce that in 20 minutes, where was that in the previous 60? You know what I mean? So they just need to get that 80-minute sort of balance right.
Tell you what will be epic next Sunday. So you've got Panthers up against the Tigers. That's our game from 3 p.m. So it's Luai up against Cleary for the very first time. Put that in your calendar, everybody. Coverage from 3 p.m. next Sunday, live and free on 9 and 9 Now. So looking forward to that. So much to love about that one for the Red V fans on Friday night. Their young stars on full display. So too the veterans. I mean, Freddie, the likes of Dave Clemmer, Damien Cook. I mean, King Gutho. He's always close to their best player, but Flano would have been loving this, particularly given they've lost a lot of tight ones this year.
It was unbelievably slippery, and both teams early on just didn't adapt to the conditions at all. And it took Cookie, DeBellin, Gutho to actually then just start playing through the middle, getting out of dummy half. Val Holmes set up pretty much the first try where he skipped back from the left-hand side, and that's where Flanagan set up the back rower on the right-hand side. That was the only Knights try. A front rower passing to a back rower. I said during that Tigers and Cowboys game, they really need to sit down and watch those two teams play because they have got no attack. There is no threat. They don't attack the line. It took a front rower to pass to a back rower for them to look dangerous the whole game. So quite sad, I thought, for the Knights. But the old boys at St George were fantastic, so good on them.
And they showed that ineffective attack through the Knights with the Dragons' defence. I thought they were really effective with their defence, only missed 18 tackles throughout the whole game. And I echo your point about the veterans. Damien Cook, he made over 50 tackles, and, Gutherson, well, he gives 100% every time he plays. So, they went out and got some experience in the off-season, and it's starting to pay dividends.
Yeah, they've added real stability, I reckon, to the Dragons outfit. And they've just shown those younger guys, in that team about consistency and how to be able to back that up week on week. I know they've had their off games, but on the most part. This is the most consistent Dragon side we've seen in quite some time.
They haven't been that far off. And in the games they've been beat, they got beat by a point once or twice. So a lot of the games they've actually been beat outside the Roosters flogging them.
Yep.
They've been competitive in nearly every game. So this is it's a good sign from the back rower, the lock forward, Hamish Stewart.
Oh, what a player.
What a good player.
Some of those young players, Stewart, Egan's out, he did his ACL, the Couchman twins. They've got some really...
scored a try, the big front rower.
Pacifici Tonga?
Pacifici Tonga.
He's only played a few games himself.
Matt Rogers found him. Matt Rogers was watching his young bloke play, and the other...
Pacifici Tonga.
He was kicking the ball and he went and saw him.
Gal said he's trained with him a couple of times as well, and he goes hard and very fit. Nathan Lawson as well coming across from. He's been to 2 Olympics for sevens, and
we were talking about that before. You look at the sevens rugby; they suit our game so much. He came in, he didn't look out of place at all, bringing the ball out of trouble. Had some big runs, made a bit of space at times. Look at this. And the one thing I was watching, I had the high shot there the whole time as we were watching in the studio, was he would make a run on one side of the field and then have that fitness level to be able to get back in position within a tackle. And at one stage he actually made a run, then got back to the other side, and pretty much a tackle later was on the end of a backline movement. So that base of fitness that sevens rugby have, and Warbrick and all those blokes that are coming through, Marky Mark, mate, that's a place we should be looking.
Big future ahead for Nathan Lawson, and a great
sevens
weekend.
Rugby, we'll be watching.
We will.
That's it.
Watch out.
Your carnivals. You want to try to take Nathan? We'll take the lot of you.
Watch out. Don't cross Freddie. And don't go...